Hey, brother.
Hey, brother. I had no idea who was going to host this show, and there you are.
That's right. I don't think a lot of people knew, but I don't even think we dropped that out, but maybe for good reason.
This is April Fool's Day 2026. Is this a joke or something?
I don't know. I think I had somebody asking me that today. Maybe Brother Dwayne Marshall. Brother Dwayne, sorry for throwing you off the scent a little bit.
I had several people, actually quite a few people, wondering what's going on. New Kansas-based Masonic podcast. Something a little bit new.
Let's dive into that first and foremost. Just for let's start with introductions for anybody that may be tuning in for the first time to anything of this nature. Brother, why don't we start with you? Who are you? Why are you here?
Well, I'm not sure. I was waiting for the show to start, and then all of a sudden the camera popped on, and boom, here we are. But right there, however it goes there, that's me. I'm Brother Darren Kellerman. I'm a member of Justice Lodge 457, Kansas's first Affinity Lodge. So that's
fantastic.
Me. And who are you?
Brother Alex Powers, Past Master Gardner Lodge 65 out in Gardner, Kansas, and proud Kansas Mason.
And aren't you also the host of another podcast, or you used to be anyway?
I am. Have not done much with it. It's called Historical Light. Launched that back in 2016. Was, to my knowledge, the first podcast out of Kansas, but fully based around Masonic history. Big history nerd. Love Masonic history, especially in Kansas. Throughout the United States, though, and created a podcast solely around that. And if I'm not mistaken, you have the second podcast that came out of Kansas. Is that correct? At least to my knowledge.
I think so. Squarely on the level. I was working with the Grand Lodge of Kansas, trying to just tidy up some stuff. And before we had a communications committee and everything, just trying to do some loose ends. And I kind of slipped off. And full disclosure, since this is about Kansas Masonry, I think we can do this. We were Alex and I at the annual communication, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
And we basically both got our butts chewed about not doing podcasting and just letting the ball drop. And it kind of hit pretty close because we were slacking, and sometimes you need that little yank. And Alex said, let's do it. And here we are.
So. It's true. So for at least in my case, I've had a busy year. Some of you guys know, some of you don't. Day job, went through a merger, entered into a new company with that pace picked up 100%. And then I've got a side company, A Powers Media, that's been picking up quite a lot as well. So I just honestly didn't have the time for a long time there and kind of let Historical Light slip a bit. We are going to bring it back. It's not going to be, I can't promise it's going to be as regular as it was. But at the same point, you and I have chatted for a long time because I love Masonic history. I want to keep that up. It is a passion. But there's also a lot of topics I'd like to talk about that didn't really fall under that realm. And I kind of got loose with it for a bit and would, go topic match. And we danced around ideas of a podcast and themes, if you will, for
a ton of different ideas.
Yeah, so many.
And we have to integrate some of that because we've talked about a traveling podcast and visiting some cool places in Kansas. And really, that's what this podcast is about. It is Kansas-based. It's not Grand Lodge affiliated. I mean, we're all Kansas Masons under the Grand Lodge, but we're not working under them directly. It's not history-based. This is going to be a you guys podcast. You guys are going to kind of direct where this goes. The time, I think, is going to stay because for Alex and I, things kind of got settled down. For me, the kiddos are in bed, and it's just kind of a nice wind down. And that's where we hope to take this, I think. Just kind of a nice chat about what's going on in Kansas, whether it's this week, last week, what's coming down the calendar, all sorts of stuff. But it's Kansas-based. So we know there's several brothers doing other stuff that covers a national level, and we just want to keep it right here at home.
Absolutely. I think it's the perfect place because, as we were talking, we danced around so many different ideas. When I got started in Masonic podcasting, there was only a few out there, pretty big ones that are still around. But now, I mean, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of Masonic podcasts out there, all kind of competing for that national, international spotlight. And there's so much to talk about right here at home that I think that's where we can offer really the most value. So let's focus on Kansas Masonry, what we know best, what we impact most, and keep it at home, keep it local, be the voice of our Kansas lodges, and see where it goes.
Definitely. And this is not the Darren and Alex show. This is the Hey Brother show. And that's what it is. Hey, brother, could you talk about this? Hey, brother, what about that? And that's where we're going to go. So we're going to need a lot of input in the comments, through emails, and that stuff to help guide this and make it your show.
Yeah.
And that's what, because it is Hey Brother. There's no, that's the title. So that's where we want to keep it nice and simple.
Absolutely. So I know as we kind of progress forward with this, we do want a lot of input from you guys in multiple different facets. One, if you want to be a guest, let us know. We'd love to have Kansas brothers in, and even other brothers, to talk about stuff that, you know, can impact Kansas. But we need to know what your guys' lodge is doing, what's going on in Masonry in your side of the state, and we want to feature that here. We want this to kind of be a Kansas Mason water cooler collective, if you will, but just focus in on hometown Masonry here in Kansas and be that spotlight for you guys. So make sure to keep us in the loop.
You know what would be awesome for next week, Alex? I tell you, Grandmaster Dave Hendricks announced in his opening remarks that he's bringing back surprise visits. And I would love for us to get somebody from the lodge he visits. And what I understand, I don't know if he's doing them this week, but I know for sure he's visiting next week for certain, is what I've heard an inside source from Grand Percevant has told us. So I would love to hear something from somebody who gets to experience the surprise visit from the Grandmaster. That would be
absolutely.
So awesome.
You know, and I think that's probably a good thing to kind of focus around tonight is one, we just came out of annual communications, and then two, what's happening until we talk next. But that was one thing that I heard that came out of annual communications, that, you know, every Grandmaster travels, but this sounded like it was going to be a little bit on the intense side. I think I heard multiple times a week. And he said, rarely will he ever announce it. And most often will he show up late.
That is a classic Grandmaster trope. The first Grandmaster I knew to do it was actually from Emporia. That's Grandmaster Hendricks' home lodge. It was Grandmaster Mike Halloran. And oh my gosh, it was great. He would show up late, and he had people on the inside that would sneakily say, hey, we're open. And then he'd just roll in quietly and then just thunder knock the door. It was great. Scary from the inside, but great.
You know, that's one of those evenings. I don't care if you've sat in the worshipful master's seat several times. God forbid this is your first year, brother. But you can know that ritual perfect. And that door opens and it's the Grand Master. You just got butterflies in your head. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. I've seen several, of course, the Tylers, goodness forbid they don't know who the Grand Master is, and they ask him to show his dues card, which is always classic. But when the junior deacon opens that door and sees the big guy in his regalia, it's wonderful. And I'm so glad that this is happening, and it brings excitement back, because we've got 67, I think, lodges right now.
That sounds right.
He's not announcing where he's going, so he could be going anywhere. So,
but in the fact of trying to hit multiple a week, which, I mean, you know, we'll see where the year goes. That's a lofty undertaking, right? But at that rate, there's a good chance he's going to hit at least the mass majority of lodges within the state this year.
Could be your lodge, could be my lodge. Who knows? You right there watching the show, could be your lodge.
Could be your lodge. He could be somewhere right now tonight as we meet.
That'd be so awesome. We need to get whoever
someone's night up.
If he visits your lodge, make sure you send us a message. We'd love to get you on the show and hear all about how that went. That would be great.
Absolutely. I do want to shout out first and foremost. I need some house rules here. What do they call those? Tidiness rules, whatever you want to say. I'm getting all over here.
You're a nerd.
With this being a new show, we ran into some kinks. As you see, we're keeping it casual. I got the studio stuff downstairs. We're up here tonight. We're keeping it casual in that manner. But with the Facebook page, eventually we're going to get this all tidied up. Facebook does not allow us to go live directly on Facebook for 60 days. So kind of earning our stripes, if you will. until that, we're going to be going this route where we go live through YouTube, and then we will share that over. This is public, obviously. It's not tiled. It's open to anyone, but our focus audience is going to remain Kansas. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what the foundation is. So feel free, if you're out of the jurisdiction, hey, we want you to stop in, say hello. But our primary channels, we're not going to be blasting this out to every Facebook group known to man like many do. This is really just going to go from, eventually straight on Facebook. But for now, it's going to go on the page for the show, and then the group, Kansas Freemasonry group on Facebook. I don't know, maybe groupable or something, but I think that pretty much, if I post there, it ties to just my lodge, I think. We'll get it figured out, but it's going to be local. Is how we're going to put this out.
So hopefully we make it 60 days.
This is true.
What that's going to require is people hitting the like button, subscribe button right here on YouTube where you're watching. So, I see a bunch of people in the comments already. CV dude, Jonathan Pendergrass, Past Masters Thoughts. I see you watching there, but you need to reach over and hit that thumbs up, hit that like, subscribe stuff going on there. That really helps. And it's just awesome. This is just great, Alex. This whole Kansas idea is a good deal. And if Facebook can't handle us for 60 days, okay, that's fine. We can share it out and around, because there's a lot of topics
right there. First year master with a grandmaster walking in. Love to see those faces.
Dude, it's great. It is great.
That's the spirit to have right there. I get the emoji. You're feeling the fear as well, but that's the spirit to have right there. I can't wait for that first visit.
And if somebody wants to have, not suggesting you come late to lodge, but this also happens. You have that brother that's running late to lodge, and he pounds the door, and everybody thinks it's the Grand Master, and oh no, it's just Bill running late. So, but it's exciting, and just make sure you brush up a little bit, or maybe you don't. I don't know. The Grand Master, the surprise visits, he's not there to test you. He's there to experience the day.
Yeah.
And as I've heard him and many grandmasters say, they want to meet on the level. And if you know he's coming, you get all tense and you're worried about all this protocol. And protocol's great, but at the end of the day, David Hendricks, past master of Emporia Lodge number 12. He's past master of St. John's Lodge as well, Prince Hall Mason here in Kansas. So exciting times.
He worked with the Kansas Masonic Foundation for a while, so I know he probably came to your lodge at some point, because he did a lot of traveling there. So
it's going to be another great year. I mean, Derek Hawken had a great year last year. Dave Hendricks is already on track for a great year this year. At Grand Lodge and Communication, he was the grand worthy patron. There we go, patron. So much for my schooling. So he had a great attendance from his Eastern Star family, and it was just wonderful. I think, Alex, I don't know what you thought, from where I was sitting in the audience, I think this was the best attended Grand Lodge installation that we've had in a long time. A lot of the chairs were filled up. Normally we have empty chairs, but the auditorium was really packed, and it was really nice to see that.
Well, that's definitely something I've noticed. It's been a little interesting since we've shifted from Topeka to Manhattan. I've noticed we get a fair turnout for the annual session. People travel in for that. But then when we were in Topeka, we usually have a pretty good showing for installation. I've noticed in Manhattan, pretty much after the annual session, you see a lot of people dipping out. But this year was a little different. I did notice a lot more people there for installation, which was fantastic. Love seeing everybody. Love reconnecting. I don't know, my opinion, it's kind of like a Masonic family reunion, right? I mean, we see these guys a lot, but there's a lot of guys there and family that we don't get to see very often. And it serves to be a great kind of gathering, reunion, if you will, to catch up with everybody and really understand how Masonry is going throughout the state, reconnect those bonds, and set us up for success for the coming year.
100%. And hopefully through this podcast, we can kind of continue that, and we can talk to and see some of the brothers we normally don't see otherwise. Because I don't know, I was kind of having a bum start to my Masonic year, and then some of the brothers just kind of gave me that punch, at some of them literally, at Grand Lodge, and it was wonderful. And look what happened. Here we are. This is
Here
great.
we are.
So it's all
Reignited.
about you folks out there making a difference, making stuff happen whether you know it or not. And yeah, it's just great. And I look forward to seeing where this takes us, and everybody interacting and asking us questions, giving us ideas for Kansas-based stuff we can do.
Absolutely. Well, I know we don't want to drag this first one out too awful long. There's a couple things I want to get to before we wrap it up tonight. But we want to just kind of go through there. Again, you guys are dropping comments over, which is fantastic. Until we get this all sorted with the Facebook jazz and all that, where we use a platform called StreamYard, so everything comes in. But until we get Facebook up and running, we're really only seeing or able to track efficiently the comments on YouTube. So if we're missing anything you guys are typing on the other platforms, I apologize. Work with us until we get everything smoothed out. We'll get this as a fine-tuned machine at some point here. But let me see. Before we move on, anything else from Grand Lodge that stuck out to you you want to mention?
I tell you, the bylaw and proposals I thought went pretty smooth this year. We had some great debate, and there were some surprising results. And I need to get on that because I know a guy who can email those out to you. It went really well. And what was exciting was, and we use that Amity app, Travel Safely, and if you don't have that downloaded, get it on your phone. And they came out with their beta test for voting, and we were going to try to use that for our voting. And it lasted about 2 seconds, and epic failure. And some people were really upset. But the thing is, we're the first Grand Lodge to try it.
Yeah.
And improvements are being made. And even with the fact it didn't work right, there was an option with the blue screen. So only brothers who were eligible to vote could hold that up, and it still worked.
Yeah.
And the owner of the company making improvements there. And what we experienced in Kansas will not happen elsewhere. So even though some people thought negative, to me, huge positive.
Oh, yeah. No.
Once again, Kansas leading the way for other jurisdictions. So absolutely. I love it. Look forward to seeing it again next year, hearing how it works in other jurisdictions. Just wonderful. That was the big thing.
Well,
nice.
It's something that we need to do because we've gone from, raising the hand, which is just inefficient, to, paper ballots, which is even more inefficient. And here's the thing is, one, this was, I don't know what the term I'm looking here for, but like in the field testing that you can't get elsewhere. And by the end of it, it seemed like Jeremy and Mike Radigan did have it efficiently working. Yeah. They've got the data they need to move forward. Now, here's one thing I got to say for anyone thinking negative of, this was just, a flat out failure. There's 100 apps out there that we could have simply gone and voted on. There was a reason why this system was set up the way it was, and why some of that caused some of the snags that we've got to work out. We could go anywhere like, a Google form or something like that and could have done these votes. With the guys over at Amity, security, privacy, especially data privacy, has been kind of at the core of their business model since day one. So he was extremely upfront about, hey, this is not data we're keeping and is going to sell off and micromanage who voted which way. Like, no, there is all these protocols and safety features set up in place so that there was that, that data security, that, independence when you vote, and then also that after the vote, it's properly destroyed and not, sent to the Grand Lodge in some secret file to know this guy voted this way. There's all these, safety latches put into place. Well, obviously, when you get complicated like that, you've got to work around stuff. But at the end of the day, it seemed like that very last vote, they had it working. I think it's going to be exciting because Grand Lodge was paying a lot of money to borrow in the key fob system or rent it in.
Those things, I think they came from Washington State or Oregon, and it cost several thousands of dollars for that. And using the app on your phone, not so much. So doing what we did, and next year, that's a good question, Joy. It's how is anything less efficient than a hand vote? I get it. But with the app, it keeps it somewhat private. This year, not quite as what we wanted. We were all brought in with the hand vote. Hold up your card for the voting delegates. And this is what it was supposed to be like this year. But some people are wanting the more privacy and more honest vote. Because I'll tell you the way I voted when I was new, I kind of looked to see how the older guys in lodge are voting, and I voted that way.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
This kind of makes it a true vote.
I will offer in on this, though. It's more true because when you've got, and I'm going to be generous here, right? But when you've got hundreds of people raising their hands at once, and it's one of those votes where you've got to be pretty down to the number, right? Or the percentage to be able to pass that. You can take a quick poll, but is that correct? I remember, I think it was the year that Michael Stoops was Grandmaster, and there was a few on the floor that were nail biters when it came down. And that's really hard to sit there and count hands to that degree. And could it sway one way or another? But when you have an electronic system that has those protocols, but is able to get down to the vote, you're getting true decision from the craft that's going to implement the laws and policy going forward in that craft. And I'm all for that. Like, let's have a true and honest vote, and not, not saying a grandmaster would choose favorably in, his opinion, if it's going one way or the other. But this safeguards that and says, no, we had exactly this amount. And if it's a nail biter, it's going to show you. So I think there's benefit in that mean.
It does. And it allows me to give my true vote, because I don't want, maybe I'm for whatever reason feel a little intimidated or embarrassed because I'm going to vote against brother Bill's proposal. I don't want Bill to know that I'm voting against him. And with something like this app, boom, done. So
Brother Jonathan, I'm not sure what you're talking about, the official app. Would that be the groupable deal? Which that's
so the groupable passport, and we have that. So that's still, we're still using that for the dues cards and stuff like. Oh boy, I can't show it.
But Amity will pull that up as well.
It will. Amity is the way to go. It's just we still have that groupable passport because that's what we had first. But Amity is really a great universal app right now. And again, they're making improvements every month, every year, and we work well with those. So.
Yeah, so the one nice thing about, and they've changed their name several times, so it's hard to keep up with them. Groupable, Maury, Our Lodge, OLP. Nice thing about that is it is tied into kind of our main database system. The, social side of that app isn't quite used very widely. I guess my personal beef, if you will, there is just, at least in Kansas, and I know other jurisdictions are a little tighty on this, and I think that's why the app is that way, but it doesn't really give us the option to have a social platform jurisdiction-wide. At least to my knowledge, it didn't before. It's really tied into you and the members of your specific lodge. And there was reasoning behind that due to other jurisdictions they offer service in that aren't allowed to have that, wide span of social network. But
with the Maury Our Lodge page, I'll just call it what it is. It sucked. The messaging sucked because we're used to having regular text messaging, Facebook Messenger, whatever you use, and the Our Lodge page, Maury messaging sucked flat out. And that's why it's gone. So we promoted it pretty hard, and then gone. And that was a company decision, not the Grand Lodge of Kansas decision. So
yeah, I know one thing there is they have to cater to basically because they don't have split instances for every. It's like one system segmented out, so they have to be able to cater to the rules of all the jurisdictions they're tied into. Oops, I already shared that one. There's one more here for the Jonathan. Interested in Masonicon themes, speakers, etc.
If only we knew somebody that was in charge of Masonicon. If only.
We've started rolling that out. There is a one-pager that should be up on the site now. So won't dive into the whole thing here tonight, but we do have an amazing lineup once again. I think we're getting our Master of Ceremonies back this year, which we're stoked about, and have a pretty good lineup. So check it out over MasoniconKansas.com. Definitely register. Nice thing is the online option is 100% there still, and it's free. Everything outside of the Festa board, just because we cater in the meal, we can't do all that for free. But it's totally free to come in person or join us online. It's Masonic education. We do accept donations. We will have an auction and stuff. Everything. So counter to how we started this out, we were selling tickets, and that's how we were paying for hotels and flights and everything for the guys that we're bringing in. Now we solicit those donations. Everything above the cost of the event is going to a great cause. We've become a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're out there to try to protect, preserve, and promote Masonic monuments and history throughout the state. First one that we're really putting our emphasis into is in Chapel Hill Cemetery in Kansas City, Kansas. There's a huge outdoor lodge room there, kind of falling apart, and we are trying to raise funds to bring that back to life, make sure it's there for years to come and not torn down. So hope you guys can join us this year. It'll be in July. Be another great time.
So we'll try to find somebody that knows something more about Masonicon for a future episode, because obviously Alex knows very little about that.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Did see that our assistant Grand Secretary Robert Nelson chimed in about the amity voting thing, and it's not talked about much yet, but we'll have the ability, or kind of do have the ability, to create polls for your local lodge or spread out to districts or whatnot, which would be really awesome. And
absolutely,
the communications committee, we put some more stuff together on that. Once that gets fine-tuned, there'll be something, I'm sure, in the Kansas Mason and probably at our area and district meetings each year, because this is some big stuff, and this is the Grand Lodge of Kansas keeping up with technology. But like Alex said, with a security thing enabled, which some of the big major platforms, Meta and such, can't offer necessarily. And so that's what we're looking for, and that's right here in Kansas, and that's exciting, and that's what this podcast is all about. What's going on right here in Kansas.
Well, that's exciting. You know, like you said, they're testing it out here in Kansas. Once they get all those kinks rolled out, it's going to be offered to Freemasonry amities worldwide. Those guys are flying around the world all the time. So it's kind of cool thinking that Kansas was kind of the birthplace of that possibility going forward, that in no doubt is going to be used in lodges, grand lodges all over the world before we know it.
Yes. So it's... You know, I've heard both Grandmasters say it last year and this year. It is a great time to be a Kansas Mason.
Absolutely.
What you got there, Alex? What is that?
Well, we're coming up on 30 minutes. I know we don't want to take this too long, but before our next episode, I did want to take a look at the Grand Lodge calendar and just see what's going on in Kansas Masonry. Now, guys, this doesn't include a lot of stuff from your lodges. We've got degrees. We've got pancake breakfast and all that fun stuff out there. Let us know. Send us a message. We're happy to shout your lodge out, Kansas Masonry specific. But what are we seeing here on the calendar for? That's not even the right month. Maybe we should figure out where we're at.
How did you get to be a host? Who invited you? Folks, this is the Grand Lodge. These are the Grand Lodge of Kansas calendars. This is a Trust Award calendar, both Google calendars, which you can subscribe to through Google. So,
absolutely. So let's see. We've got a few things on here. Abdallah Unity event coming up this Saturday. Got a Grandmaster official visit out to Emporia, next Monday, the 6th. Vulcan Lodge got award ceremony on the 11th. Arab Temple has a stated meeting on here. And it looks like this is a little bit different because used to Grand Lodge had like 15 and a half calendars. And I think it's all been condensed into one Grand Lodge calendar. We've got the OES Grand Chapter happening later this month. Alta Vista's got scholarships, service pins, and widows pins going out. And then it looks like Midwest Conference, Mound City's got award ceremonies ending up this month. And if you're a DDGM, we've got some important dates on there coinciding with Kansas Grand York Rite stuff as well. And what is this one?
Or the Grand Matron and Grand Patron reception.
Yeah, that's right.
So
it's all kinds of fun stuff going on in April, man.
Put you on the spot. Do you have the Trust Award calendar, Alex?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Because this is what I love. Because
I think
that's on your Google thing. You can get that on your phone. Let me see if I can turn it around. I don't know if we can see it with all my cool stuff. But look at all those things in yellow. It's on yellow on my phone, and all those things on there are study clubs and degree work that's going on around the state every week. Like, see, tonight, I punched it up for tonight. Tonight, Wednesday, April the 1st, there is a study club. Let me find out where that was at. Gotta scroll down. It was at Y.3 this morning. That's all that stuff is available on trestle@kansasmason.org. If you want access to that, just trestle@kansasmason.org. So tells you where study clubs are at, what degree work's going on around the state. If you got it, submit it. So
see 2 more points here, and then I think we'll wrap it up. We've got here Kansas Freemasons hosting Harlem Wizards at 4 locations. I did hear about that.
It is a charity event.
In communication.
Great thing.
Fantastic.
You can't afford to go see those dang Globetrotters. The Harlem Wizards, maybe even better. You have a more personalized experience. And
Absolutely.
They're traveling the state. It is great. Right now, Kansas specific, they're all over down there. So if you haven't seen the Wizards yet, get your tickets to see that.
Absolutely. Brothers, shoot us over that information. We're happy to share that out for you, and we'll talk about it next time.
How do they do that, Alex? How do they get information to us?
Man, we need to set some stuff up. I think right now the best way on Facebook, just send a message to the page. Both me and Kellerman have access to that. I think eventually here we'll get probably an email deal through our domain. We're getting a website set up. We're getting all kinds of fancy stuff, but we'll get there. For right now, just hit us up on the Facebook page, probably the best way. Or I guess you could always go powers@kansasmason.org or kellerman@kansasmason.org.
And if you're having trouble,
they haven't made that big deal at Kansas Mason yet?
No, and if you're having trouble, bloom at kansasmason.org. That'll work even after Tracy's gone. So always a good one.
Absolutely.
But guys, It has been great to have you here for our first show. We are so excited to hear from you. We're looking forward next week to hearing from somebody that has that Grand Master visit at their lodge. But I think we're still looking at Wednesdays, 8:30, Alex, that we're thinking?
It works for me, at least most nights. So, yeah, we'll get it figured out. We'll make sure we have it scheduled ahead of time and posted. And, yeah.
All right. Well, this is awesome. However this worked out, I'm glad when I turned it on, here we are. So, always glad to be talking Kansas Freemasonry.
At this point of the show, this is where my OCD and my marketing side kicks in. It's killing me a little bit. We've got the great intro to the show of, hey, brother, that works so naturally. We don't really have a see you later, brother.
Well, I guess aloha works both ways. So maybe, hey, brother. I don't know if that works both ways or not. But
we can make it work. We can make it work. And if you got a different opinion, let us know, and
definitely
maybe we'll add it in. But until next time, guys, thanks so much for joining in. Make sure you like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Hey, brother.
Hey, brother.